Piers Morgan's hypocrisy is full on display. Let's take a listen.
Netanyahu is only in this war for Netanyahu. He does not care about the hostages. It's been women and children and hostages who have been killed. Very few Hamas leaders, according to Israel's intelligence, has been killed. And if the sergeant is actually saying what he's saying, he wants to displace these people to Egypt. It is Israel's responsibility as the occupying power to take care of Palestinians in Gaza and also the West Bank. Last thing I'll say, Piers, because no one talks about the West Bank. Hamas does not control the West Bank. What's the excuse for Israel just last week thumbing the eye of Joe Biden and announcing that they will build 3,400 illegal settlements in the West Bank, where, again, Hamas is not in control, and also 400 people have been killed in the West Bank, including 100 children. What's the excuse for the occupation of the West Bank, Sergeant?
Sergeant?
Yeah, so first of all, there are so many absurd assertions in my interlocutor's statement just that I don't really know where to start. We're here having a conversation about whether or not the Israel Defense... Pleasure to meet you. We're here having a conversation about whether or not the Israel Defense Forces should operate in the city of Rafah. The reason that we're having that conversation is precisely because it is not operating in the city of Rafah. It is not bombing the Palestinian Arabs in Rafah. It is not even attacking and taking apart the remaining battalions of Hamas inside Rafah. It has been repeatedly stated...
Okay, so this video, as you can expect, was a little bit old. And when he said... 4 months ago, I think this video was published, when he said at that time that Israel is not going to be bombing Rafah, not going to Rafah. Take a look what they did. They burned it down. They burned it down. This moron, he doesn't know how to predict the future. But you know what? He knew it. He knew it at that time that his monstrous government is going to go into Rafah and burn it down. So he is getting caught on camera lying because he knows, these people, they know it. They're going to pulverize the entire Gazan area, the entire population. They're going to pulverize. But they refused to say that at that time. But this is exactly what they're doing right now. Now, when I say Piers Morgan is a hypocrite, I'll tell you why. Let's listen.
That it will do so only once it has drawn together a viable option for the relocation of those displaced in that area, move them into another locale where they will be away from the fire, as they have shown their ability to do thus far. That's the first thing. The second thing...
One second. On that point, Sergeant Anthony, why should Palestinians leave their own home? Why should they have to leave, as you suggest, to go to Egypt? Or why would they trust Israel to ever let them back? But why should they leave?
Well, what I'm saying to you, Piers, and thank you for your question, is that the typical form of the international community in a case where... I
want to pause here for a second. Think about this. If it was a pro-Palestinian, pro-humanity spokesperson talking about the situation of Gaza and accuse Israel of committing this genocide, do you think Piers Morgan will let him speak? He will interrupt. And he will not ask, by the way, my guest, my beloved guest, why you think Israel is doing this? Why? Tell me, please. But when it is pro-Palestinian guest, pro-humanity guest, as I like to call them, Piers Morgan will be like, what do you mean? Like, wait a second. No, wait. But this happened, that happened, right? This is how he does his interviews. But in this one, you see a completely different Piers Morgan. Why? Because it is a IDF reservist. He is a pro-Zionist, he's a pro-monster and pro-genocidal maniac.
Displaced persons in a war zone, regardless of who those persons may be, is twofold. Number one, it is expected that neighbouring countries open their borders to absorb those displaced persons and remove them from the point of distress. Secondly, it's expected that non-neighbouring countries in the international community do the very same. I'll give you two examples so that people are aware of it. First of all, with regard to the Syrian civil war, nothing to do with the State of Israel. In that particular case, Turkey, a neighbouring country, absorbed about 3 million Syrian refugees during the course of that war. Germany, a non-neighbouring country, absorbed more than 1 million. When it came to the war of Russia against Ukraine, Ukraine's neighbour Poland absorbed many refugees from Ukraine into its borders, as was expected by the international community, and many countries who did not neighbour Ukraine also accepted refugees, including my country, the State of Israel, which was very pleased,
Sergeant,
proud,
it's because
and ready
Russia
to do
invaded
so. It's
Ukraine.
only, if I can just finish, I didn't...
You are so cringe to watch. This surgeon is so cringe to watch. What he is saying is absolutely pathetic. Can you believe this guy comparing what happened in Syria to what is happening with the people of Gaza? Can you believe this? Okay, civil war, surgeon, civil war that was happening in Syria, civil war. It was people fighting their own people. Israel is an example that you can never use. The situation in Gaza, you can never compare this situation with anything that preceded in the history of mankind, especially when it comes to warfare. Nothing is similar to what is happening in Gaza. Ukraine was invaded by Russia. When you are invaded, your enemy comes to your territory, they invade you, they destroy, they accomplish all the missions, and then they leave. When Israel goes to Gaza, not to invade only, but also to take over the lands, to steal lands, and be there. There are 3,400 new settlers coming into West Bank, as Wajahat he mentioned. They are there to live. They are not here to invade. So this guy, this moron, this surgeon, this pro-Zionist, or he's a Zionist actually, he's not a pro, he's a Zionist, has absolutely no brain. I don't know where he kept his brain, maybe with the hair, his brain is gone too. But this bald man doesn't understand history. He's talking nonsense. It is not common sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. And all the while he's making all this rubbish tosh. These are all tosh. Piers Morgan is watching him, giving him the time to explain himself. Not a single interruption. This is what Piers Morgan is. When an Israeli talking all rubbish, Piers Morgan will give him the time to explain himself. But when a pro-Palestine, pro-humanity guest will talk facts, oh my God, Piers Morgan is going to be totally uncomfortable.
Interrupt you
Sure.
if I can just conclude.
Sure.
It's only in the case of the Palestinian Arabs that people such as you, sir, insist that not only must no country open its borders to them, must they not seek refuge even in a neighbouring country eminently resourced to do so, such as Egypt, but also that only the Palestinian Arabs, in the list of displaced persons around the world, they uniquely wish to stay exactly where they are, in distress, immiserated not by Israel, not by the Israel Defense Forces, as you falsely assert, but by Hamas, who launched a terror campaign with the mandate of the people into the state of Israel, murdered, may I remind everybody, 1,200 people, kidnapped 240 people, 136 of which are still in
Sergeant
captivity,
Anthony, let me just ask
19
you,
of whom are women, and the
Sergeant
UN has
Anthony,
expressed that sexual assault and rape has been used against those women,
Sergeant
including
Anthony,
during captivity.
Okay.
So I think we have to operate there, Piers, in answer to your question.
Yeah, but I do remember that many Israelis were particularly offended that they chose a Jewish holiday on which to commit that atrocity on October the 7th. Why are you now planning to attack Rafah during Ramadan? I mean, isn't that completely...
Piers, why are you asking me that question?
I'm so shocked. Well, no, not really. I knew it was coming. Piers Morgan, can you believe what nonsense he's talking about? He should be asking him, you are making absolutely no sense, sir. That's exactly what he should be telling him, because he's comparing Gaza situation with Syria civil war with what is happening in Ukraine and Russia. Completely 2 and 3 different scenarios here. Instead of asking him, can you make some sense? Can you really talk about Gaza and not other countries? He's asking him, oh, by the way, so why you think they are invading Rafah in Ramadan? Oh, because Hamas did that on a Jewish holiday? Like, this is his question. This is his journalism. And the moron Anthony, the IDF lapdog, he's not a lapdog, he's an IDF himself. He is kept on renting whatever is coming to his bald head. It is unbelievable how biased Piers Morgan is.
Question is, though, that's something that I've said. You've not even asked me whether or not we're ready to do. Are you asking me, or are you asking why the State of Israel is ready? And why do you assume that that would be my opinion without asking me?
What is your opinion?
My opinion is the following. the people of the Muslim faith are not the only ones who have an adherence to a religious code. I've seen on your show many, many times that people have quoted...
Okay, I'm not going to let him talk about Muslim faith and all that. This douchebag doesn't have any understanding about Muslim faith. So let's not watch any more cringe fest coming from him. But this is exactly what they do. This idea of this pathetic Piers Morgan, this biased journalist, they want to brainwash us, change the narrative. But we all know these are lies and we're not going to be buying it.